All right, it's time to get cracking. Now, before we get super granular, I want to give you another, well, this isn't even a 30,000 foot view. This is like an 11,500 foot view here. This is kind of what our overall process is going to look like. So remember I told you that we're going to create at least 4 money magnets. That's because you're in the business of solving a specific problem through your marketplace, right? And what people fail to realize is that specific problem is usually the symptom of about 4 or more underlying conditions. So I want you to find at least 4. As an example, if I'm in the business of solving low sales is really a symptom of all or a few of some underlying conditions, such as no traffic, such as bad conversion, such as a bad selling process, such as bad follow-up, etc. Right? So what we're going to do in this module is we're going to work on this part right here. Now this section is the lead attraction, the list building section of our process. So what we do is we're going to have 4 money magnets or more. Again, you don't have to create these personally. I'll give you the worksheets and the process maps. It's really pretty easy and it's pretty fun. So don't be overwhelmed by this. We're going to have 4 money magnets. Each of these solve a specific underlying problem that's causing the major symptom, thus instantly giving you that specialization in the positioning, and because you're helping them and you're providing the knowledge to them, it also positions you as an authority instantly. And because each of these money magnets can be advertised and can pull in subscribers through 5 different web pages, what's going to occur is, because we're going to be sending traffic to all 5 of these different types of web pages, each web page, each group of 5 advertising a separate money magnet, you are going to be everywhere in the eyes of your marketplace. They're going to see you all over the place. Now, what's the definition of a celebrity? Someone famous. How are you famous? We reverse engineer what makes you famous. The fact that they see you everywhere. Well, we're about to turn you into as Dan Kennedy would say, a famous person nobody's ever heard of, right? You don't care about being famous to people who aren't going to be your customers, but to that tiny target market, the perfect segment of people who are most likely going to give you money, they are going to see you everywhere. So they're going to see you as a celebrity. They're going to see you as an authority as well, because you're specifically helping them solve the actual underlying issue that's causing their greater problem. And we are now, as part of this process, all of these money magnets are going to feed into one indoctrination system. Now, we're going to cover the indoctrination system and the conversion system in modules 3 and 4, right? So I won't go too much into that right now. And then this indoctrination system is going to lead to multiple conversion mechanisms, which we'll cover also in modules 3 and 4. And all of that leads to sales. So I just want to give you the big picture of what we are about to granularly do. So this week's module and next week's focuses on this. What we're going to do in this week is we're going to create these, and we're going to make these as compelling as possible. And then next week, we're going to create these, the actual pages that bring in your subscribers, and we're going to do that quickly and easily, by the way. Even if you don't know web stuff, it isn't hard, I promise you. I do it. I am like learning impaired, thanks to the early 90s and most of 2000s entirely. Thanks to the partying of my youth, I'm a little slightly learning impaired. I do all this stuff myself, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is what we're going to do in this week and the next. We're going to start building that list, and this is the process we're ultimately going to use to turn these guys into money for you. So now, let's go ahead and start creating these suckers right here. Let's go to the computer and we'll get it done. All right, welcome back. Now, enough cerebral psychology. Now let's get to work. You know what we're going to do? And this module, of course, is dedicated to the beginnings of building your list. And in order to start building a list, we have to have something to give away, something to entice people to want to join your list. And it's not enough to do it the old way anymore, right? So the old way looked like this. The old way was you would advertise a free report, and then they'd see your sales letter, usually immediately upon opting in. Of course, you'd send them an email or something that said, hey, here's the free report. And then if they didn't buy immediately, you would send them an email every 10 minutes that said, you better buy this or else the terrorists are going to win, or something like that. Well, The rules of the game have changed for us. Now, your competitors are probably still doing this. That's the good news. The even better news is their customers hate them for it. You and I are going to do something dramatically different. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on solutions, and we're going to focus on solving the underlying problems that are causing their primary symptom. And I'll go over that in greater detail in a minute, but conceptually, let me show you how the funnel sort of looks. So instead of just one free report, we have 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. And all of these free reports or free videos or whatever are promising to help them find a solution to a particular problem, which is one of the causes of the main thing that's bothering them, right? So if we're in the business of helping people increase sales, the old way, which would have been this way, which would have been like this, would have been advertise a free report, reveals how to get more sales, and then your sales letter would be, hey, buy my incredible sales generation system, and then the email sequence would pummel them until they bought, which likely most of them wouldn't. They would want to kill you. So the new method is like this. Now we know that lack of sales is really the symptom of a series of problems, and we need to solve those problems. So that first problem might be they're not getting any traffic. So we give them a free report, reveals how to get more traffic so you can increase sales. Another thing causing the lack of sales might be bad conversion on their opt-in page. So what do? We offer a free solution, reveals top 10 high converting opt-in page templates and how you can utilize them to get more subscribers so you can, what? Say it with me, make more sales. The third thing that might be the cause of their low sales might be follow-up, right? So free report reveals how to create an automated email follow-up system to engage more of your subscribers so that you can, say it with me, create more sales, right? Now, all of this stuff, instead of going to the initial sales letter, goes to something that's called an ELO. Now, if you're my age, you know that stands for Electric Light Orchestra in the musical community, but in marketing, this stands for an educational liquidation offer. And what this is usually going to be, no, it's not mandatory, but I like to do it because it helps us make money and it also helps us with our positioning, is this is going to be some sort of a tutorial, which is also a sales pitch. I'll teach you, of course, how to do this based on a template that I'm going to give you in this course. The function of this is to immediately establish authority, immediately to establish goodwill by education and engagement, and also to potentially make a sale. Now, of course, not everyone who opts in is going to immediately buy something, and we know that, and that's fine. But instead of pummeling them with your traditional email sequence, we're going to put them in something called a behavioral dynamic response campaign. And this is where we utilize different marketing messages based on what they click and what they respond to. And that's really cool. And then once they become our customers, we put them into an ascension campaign. But it all starts over there on the left-hand side of this slide, which is by offering solutions to their problems. And I always call these solutions, these free bribes that you give people in exchange for their contact information, I call these lead magnets. The thing about the lead magnet is, whatever the lead magnet it is critical to attracting the right leads. So for example, let's say our ideal customer is a 7-figure business owner who wants bigger conversions, right? Well, if we advertise the lead that said something like 10 easy ways to make $500 a month in your spare time with no work, we're not going to attract that guy, are we? We're going to attract bottom of the barrel style business opportunity seekers who are likely to never have a 7-figure business in our life, right? So we always need to have that message to market match there. Thankfully for us, in terms of what type of lead magnet to build, most of, if not all of our work has actually been done for us. And it's been done for us over probably about a 20 to 30 year period of rigorous testing by trashy magazines. And not necessarily trashy, by the way. They don't have to be trashy. So including, but not limited to, Cosmopolitan magazine, Oxygen magazine, Men's Health, all of the Rodale magazines, for example. All of these magazines spend a fortune, and I mean really a ton of money, on copywriters and editors whose sole job it is to sell more of these magazines. And as you can imagine, what sells magazines? Well, the covers. And specifically, what makes the cover sell are two things. Number one, it's usually the image, and more importantly, number two, it's going to be the copy on the cover. So what I've done is literally just today, as I was putting this class together for you, I went and got a lot of images of relatively current issues of various magazines throughout various niches, right? So what I want to do is I'm going to show you some of these covers, and I want to see if you notice a pattern, right? So let's have a look at this one. Okay, and I'll just sort of give you a second. I was going to challenge that guy to a fight, but I didn't want to show off. You know, I didn't want to make him feel bad about himself, so I don't think I will. So anyway, you got it? Okay, now let's see if we can notice a pattern. Let's have a look at this one. Ignore the images now. We're looking at the copy. All right, so you ready? We got that one. Here's another one. I actually met this girl once. I was on a show with her, strangely enough, about surfing. I had like a 5-second blurb on there. Pretty nice lady. Anyway, you notice you're looking for a commonality here. Now, should be pretty easy to spot. Okay, and again, ignore the images now. Let's just look at the copy on here. Here's another one. Now, the big commonality, I'm going to start giving you a hint now. The big commonality is on the other side of the cover on this one. Not on the inside cover, but these first two I showed you, the thing they have in common is on the left, and on this one, the thing they have in common is on the right. Okay, so here are a few more, right? So here we go. I'm going to start reading some of this to you now. I think you've gotten it. So Cosmopolitan, you know, these guys have one thing on their mind, it turns out, on Cosmopolitan magazine. 100 sex questions is cover number 1 over there. 50 sex moves, cover number 2. 10 things guys crave in bed, cover number 3. Cover number 4, 60 sex tips. And then, of course, you can also look leaner naked. And who wouldn't want that, right? And so now let's go back more cosmopolitan, right? Fashion Frenzy, 245 shoes and bags, all right? Another one with Gwen Stefani on here. I think that's who that is. No, it was Lady Gaga. Sorry, Gwen. 50 things to do butt naked. Who wouldn't want to read that? You know, that's great. The next one here, the third cover, 25 sex moves. Now, let's move out of what some would call the, you know, somewhat trashy aspect of it and go back into the health and fitness. Here's a magazine called Oxygen, a Canadian publisher, Robert Kennedy Publishing. Good company over there, nice family business. And what do they have over here? 23 instant fat loss tips at the bottom of this one. The second one, amazing abs in just 28 days. The third one, your best butt ever in just 7 weeks. And of course, some 16-minute butt kicking workouts. And then at the bottom of this copy right near this lady's butt, a lot of butt stuff going on over here in this issue. I guess because it's glutes, right? It says zap butt fat with 5 simple moves down there at the bottom. So you're starting to see the pattern right up here at the very top of this one. That's my lovely wife, by the way, right there, little Natalia Kern and her Oxygen cover. At the top, we have one big commonality, 57 ways to improve your life today, right? So, and also over there to Natalia's right, amazing shoulders in 3 super easy moves. And over there to her left, your secret to sexy glutes, see results in 27 days. Are you noticing some formulas here with these titles? Well, let me show you. The first one is X ways to Y, right? So that's 56 moves to improve your performance in bed or whatever, right? 7 ways to get killer shoulders. 5 ways to get more prospects. 10 ways to increase your web page conversion. 7 ways to attract more life insurance clients. 12 ways to attract the woman of your dreams. See what I mean? 7 ways to get your child to go to sleep on time. 15 recipes to feed your children, even if all they want to eat is sugar, right? Now, the next formula that you can use for a title, all of these are proven, by the way, by these magazine editors, would be X ways to Y in Z time. So 5 ways to lose 15 pounds in the next 2 weeks. 3 ways to attract the woman of your dreams by the end of the summer. Okay? You see what I mean there? So the next one is, if you don't want to give out actual content, you can just give a list of resources. 15 resources to help you run your WordPress blog faster. 18 health foods you can eat tomorrow to help you drop pounds without exercising, right? So you see the formula there? And finally, it is just, or not finally, almost finally, it is just the XY tips, right? So 15 tips for better sex, 17 strategies for a well-behaved child, nine secrets to getting a good night's sleep. You see? So instead of ways, they are just tips or secrets. Same thing, really, but different formula, different copy. And finally, the classic, how to X without Y. How to lose 15 pounds without dieting. Okay, now obviously you want to make your claims always true. I don't know if such a claim could be true, unless of course you got like the stomach flu or something, and then I guess it's real, you know. But that's a big one, right? How to close high ticket sales without being pushy. You see, how to build a website without knowing tech stuff. How to generate leads without relying on affiliates and joint ventures. How to generate traffic without spending a fortune. And then, of course, you can combine all of these, right? 7 ways to generate traffic without buying advertising. 15 ways to shed unwanted weight without diet or exercise. You see there? And then, of course, you can even combine them some more, right? 15 ways to shed weight without diet or exercise in the next 2 weeks. Or 15 ways to lose 7 pounds in the next 2 weeks without diet or exercise. So all of these formulas are classic and time-tested. The best thing you have in here is specificity, actual numbers. The numbered list stuff works beautifully, right? So that's how to come up with a title. And the best advice I could give you is really just to pick one. Right? But before you pick one, we probably should start brainstorming some of your content. And before we brainstorm the content of your lead magnet, you might be wondering, well, what's the best format in which to create my lead magnet? Meaning, should it be a report, a video, a webinar, whatever? Well, it depends. The good old-fashioned PDF is probably the most widely used, and from my perspective, it just works great. People are used to it. It's easy to consume. It's easy for you to make. You can crank out a ton of them on various not products, but various concepts and ideas and so forth, and it works perfectly, and you don't have to have any real fancy software to make it, so that's very good. Now, videos are also very good. A video series is very good. Videos have high perceived value, and of course, a PDF plus bonus videos are very good as well. So yours free, 23-page workbook reveals how to lose 15 pounds in the next 7 days without diet and exercise. Plus, also get these 4 bonus videos for 7 slim down meals that you can cook, that you can fix yourself, even if you've never set foot in a kitchen. See, so that would also be a very, very good lead magnet. My advice to you on this is to do this. Whatever is easiest for you to make. All of these will work. The format is not nearly as important as the title, what that lead magnet promises, right? So again, please don't overthink it. If you just want to make a PDF, just make a PDF. I make PDFs all the time. They work really, really well. They're simple, right? And finally, on the topic of making a PDF, people say, well, how long should it be? What should it be like? Look, I'm about to walk you through a very, very simple exercise on how to do this. And before I do, I want you to know it doesn't need to be an opus. This doesn't have to be your life's work masterpiece. It could be 15 pages, 20 pages, 10 pages. It doesn't matter. A lead magnet is just something that's going to give them the solution to a problem very, very quickly. Right? That's all. So if you go back to look at what's selling those magazines, those formulaic headlines, X ways to Y or whatever, if you actually go and read the magazines, there's usually 2 pages worth of information, and that's it. And that's fine. Now, you might want to give a little more. That's okay. But the point is, you don't have to make it forever, So let's talk about making the content. I'm going to end now on this video, and what I'm about to walk you through is a very simple process that you can use to brainstorm multiple lead magnet ideas, and also to get a very crystal clear picture of exactly what to say in your lead magnet. So I'll end this chunk right here, and I'll see you in the next video where I'll walk you through this process of how to actually come up with the content quickly for really as many lead magnets as you can crank out. So I'll see you in the next video.